Ever wondered how the falling gas prices might affect inflation? Well, today we're going to deep dive into this. We're on the cusp of the release of October's Consumer Price Index, or CPI, as we economic enthusiasts like to call it. This CPI is a critical data point for the Federal Reserve when considering their interest rate decisions. The projections suggest a headline inflation of 3.3%, marking a decrease from September's 3.7%. Interesting, isn't it? But let's delve deeper into the causes of this decrease. A significant factor is the anticipated drop in energy prices. In fact, we're expecting to see a 1.8% drop in energy prices, which should contribute to the smaller gain in inflation. Meanwhile, food inflation looks to be maintaining a steady course, projected to continue at a 0.2% monthly pace. Now, when we take a look at the core basis, which excludes the volatile food and gas costs, prices are predicted to have risen 4.1% annually and 0.3% monthly. Our friends over at Wells Fargo expect a subdued headline CPI. However, they've noted a firmer reading in the core, signaling that progress on inflation might be slowing down. Now this is where it gets interesting. The Federal Reserve. Despite inflation remaining above its 2% target, the Fed is not expected to raise rates in December. The markets have priced in an 86% chance of unchanged rates. The Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, has indicated a cautious approach, stating that slowing down provides insight into potential future actions. So all eyes are on the Federal Reserve, as we eagerly anticipate their next move in this intriguing economic play. When it comes to bonus disputes, the case of Ross Reingens U and FTX is a hot topic right now. Let's delve into the background of this intriguing dispute. Ross Reingens U, a former Jane Street trader, was handpicked by Sam Bankman-Fried to work on FTX's charitable giving, but now he's demanding the remainder of his 2022 bonus, a cool $275,000. But there's a twist in the tale. FTX is currently wrestling with bankruptcy, and a team of advisors are on a mission to recover a whopping $71.5 million, allegedly siphoned off by the FTX Foundation and a nonprofit led by Reingens U himself. The plot thickens, doesn't it? Bankman-Fried, the man who recruited Reingens U, is in the eye of a storm himself. Accusations of massive fraud leading to FTX's downfall are swirling around him. Reingens U, however, is having none of it. He vehemently denies any knowledge of the fraud, batting away claims that he was complicit in any wrongdoing. Reingens U counters with his own narrative. He insists that he was hired to steer the FTX Foundation's charitable affiliate, Latona Bioscience, and that he took his role very seriously. The compensation dispute is now pending in FTX's Chapter 11 case in the Delaware Bankruptcy Court. It's a tense standoff. FTX advisors are not backing down. They argue that Reingens U's claim is baseless. Reingens U, on the other hand, is not just seeking his bonus, but also $650,000 in foundation direction units. FTX, ensnared in this tangled web, has declined to comment. As this high-stakes dispute unfolds, we'll be watching closely to see how it impacts the broader financial landscape. This is not just about a bonus dispute. It's a saga that could have ripple effects across the finance world. Stay tuned, folks. In international news, President Biden's meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo is making waves. The leaders convened to discuss several key topics, including cooperation in defense areas such as cybersecurity, space, and nuclear threats. This comes as a strategic move considering the rapidly evolving global scenario, where cyber threats and space exploration are taking center stage. Moreover, the two leaders delved into environmental issues, specifically carbon capture and storage. This is a hot topic as nations grapple with the challenge of balancing economic growth and environmental preservation. The agreement on improving air quality further underscores the commitment of both nations to address climate change. One of the more interesting aspects of the meeting was the discussion around a potential minerals partnership. This partnership would focus on electric vehicle battery metal nickel, a resource that's crucial for the burgeoning electric vehicle industry. It's a clear sign that both countries are taking the shift towards green energy seriously. However, it wasn't all smooth sailing. There are concerns about environmental, social, and governance (ESG) standards in Indonesia. These standards, which address a company's impact on the environment, its relationships with employees, suppliers, customers, and communities, as well as its leadership, are becoming increasingly important in international dealings. In a bold move, President Widodo appealed to Biden to take steps to end the Israel-Hamas conflict, indicating Indonesia's interest in global peace initiatives. This appeal could potentially influence the dynamics of the Middle East conflict, underscoring Indonesia's role on the global stage. The meeting was not just about current issues, but also the future. Indonesia, which has strong economic links with China, is expected to upgrade diplomatic relations with the US. Additionally, there's the possibility of new funding for its semiconductor industry, a development that could boost its economy and tech sector. The outcomes of this meeting could have far-reaching implications for international relations and the global economy. Alright, so we've covered quite a bit today, but what does it all boil down to? Let's start with inflation. We're looking at a potential decrease in the consumer price index in October, largely due to falling gas prices. The projected headline inflation is 3.3%, a small step down from September's 3.7%. Food inflation, however, is expected to hold steady at a 0.2% monthly pace. Wells Fargo anticipates a subdued headline CPI, but suggests a firmer reading in the core. Despite inflation remaining above the Federal Reserve's 2% target, the markets are pricing in an 86% chance of unchanged rates in December. It seems Fed Chair Jerome Powell's cautious approach is setting the tone. Meanwhile, over at FTX, a heated compensation dispute is unfolding. Former Jane Street trader Ross Reingens-Yu, who was brought in by Sam Bankman-Fried to help with FTX's charitable giving, is seeking the remainder of his 2022 bonus, which comes in at a cool $275,000. This comes amid FTX's bankruptcy, with accusations flying and $71.5 million allegedly misappropriated. The outcome of this dispute is yet to be determined, with Reingens-Yu denying any knowledge of the fraud, and FTX advisors arguing that his claim has no merit. On the international stage, President Joe Biden met with Indonesian President Joko Widodo, marking some significant discussions. The leaders explored potential cooperation in defense areas and discussed possible agreements on carbon capture, storage, and improving air quality. Indonesia, economically linked with China, is expected to strengthen diplomatic relations with the US and potentially receive new funding for its semiconductor industry. The talks also touched on Indonesia's diplomatic efforts in resolving the conflict in Myanmar. Remember, the world of economics and finance is ever-changing. Stay informed, stay curious, and most importantly, stay tuned for more updates.